vulnerabilities of each nation in what we had proudly started calling the global village. Now, I request Shri Suresh Prabhu ji to share his words of wisdom, and then we'll go ahead with the program. Sir.
Ashish ji, बहुत धन्यवाद. I can see on the screen so many distinguished co-panelists present, including my dear friend Mr. Alphonse, who has been a very distinguished bureaucrat, very fine minister, and I think above all, a very, very good human being. So I've been very lucky to have enjoyed his friendship for a very long time, and we share a very close personal relationship. So I'm very happy that he will be there for a longer period, because he can give you a better perspective about what is happening than me. So Ashish, thank you for inviting me, and I can see so many other distinguished panelists. I am very happy that the Institute of Company Secretaries I have seen as branching off into national issues. Normal job of a company secretary traditionally has been ensuring that all the secretarial functions of the companies, the corporate entities, are carried out in a rightful manner. Over a period of time, we are seeing many amendments which have been made to the Companies Act have made it mandatory for a company of a particular size to must have a company secretary. As you know, companies are only natural entities. They are judicially created. But we need a person who actually holds the reins of the company. You can call it a chairman and managing director, he runs the company. But company as a body, who will hold its reins in hand? And therefore there is a concept of lifting corporate wealth. If at all we want to lift a corporate wealth, then there has to be somebody must first hold it so we can lift it. So the company secretaries play a very key role in providing human face to the legally created corporate entity. And I have seen therefore that rather than just confining yourself to a very limited role of looking at your responsibilities as secretaries, you have gone much beyond it. You have been taking up larger public issues, and today's program is a good indication of that. It's so topical, so relevant, and so important that I'm very happy that Ashish, you and your team have decided to focus on it. We all agree that world will face very difficult economic challenges in future. Today, Japan has already announced a very big shrinkage into the first quarter GDP. The second would be even worse. The US and Japan is already under recession. The US will definitely be in recession. China has already reported very big drop in their industrial as well as services output. So world is passing through very challenging times. European Union has two components. One is European Union and one is Eurozone countries. Both of them as a group are going to face very big decline into the GDP. So obviously the world will have a very, very difficult trajectory to pass in the next year's time. And in that context, we'll have to decide our own strategy for economic development. In the morning, I was addressing a very interesting seminar on multilateralism. The former DG, WTO, Mr. Pascal Lamy was there, Sanjay Baru was there, Rajmohan was there, our CUTS CEO. He was, Pradeep Mehta was there, and we are discussing how can India chart out a future growth trajectory. Firstly, why is the growth necessary? If there is no growth, there is obviously economic activity will bring in growth. If there is no economic activity which reflects in growth, how can we create jobs? How can you ensure livelihood for people? How can you make sure that people's aspiration of living a much better life than what they are living today, how can it be fulfilled? So therefore, we have no choice but to have growth. But growth itself has many connotations. How do you actually make that growth possible? For that, we must understand what is growth. Growth is services, agriculture, industry, all put together is growth. Today, we have a very unique situation. Despite the fact that our GDP to agriculture contribution has gone down considerably in the last 50-60 years, the number of people depend on agriculture, percentage-wise might have gone down, but absolute number has increased. Obviously, because in 60 the population was half of what it is today. And today, therefore, the challenge is, unless our agriculture also picks up, we will not be able to get real growth momentum that is necessary. Today's share of agriculture to GDP is only 14.6%. The number of people is more than 50%. That's almost 65 crore people. So how do you make sure that agriculture grows? So I'm happy that Aatmanirbhar Bharat is focusing on agriculture in a big way. If you have seen the last few days of announcement emanating from Prime Minister, big announcement of 20 lakh crore package, is focusing on agriculture in a big way in the rightful manner. Because if agriculture grows, it will actually help in all other sectors to grow. Because agriculture income will go up. If agriculture income goes up, people will buy more agriculture services and manufactured products. Mr. Alphonse is hails from Kerala. Kerala is a state which is dominated by tourism, of course. Tourism is one of the large part of the economy, but agriculture. When we agriculture, they are largely cash crops. There is of course agriculture like rice and others, but cash crops, commodities. Now these commodities, whether it is rubber, whether it is spices, all of that are dependent on global market. The prices fluctuate depending upon what happens in the global market. So how do you insulate our commodities, agriculture commodities, from these vagaries of international trade? Is something we have to think about very clearly. There are various ideas. Me and Mr. Alphonse in fact worked on it. When he was the tourism minister, I was the commerce minister. We tried to find out a strategy to make that happen. But agriculture means horticulture also. Agriculture, it also encompasses fisheries. And India having 7,600 kilometers of coastline as well as inland fisheries being there in almost all hinterland states, fisheries become a very important source of livelihood. How do you make fishermen make life better? In the context of climate change, when the sea level rise will happen, when the oceans will warm, we'll have a very difficult times for the fisheries. And therefore, how do you protect the livelihoods of fishermen? Therefore, the Ayushman Bharat also rightly focuses on that aspect as well. The third is in the agriculture basket, in dairy products. Very important element. In fact, Ashish is very young, but when I was younger than Ashish, getting milk was impossible. My mother would find it very difficult when I had to go to my native place from where I won 4 Lok Sabha elections. To find milk, she had to make an extra effort because as a young boy, I always used to like milk. I don't drink it anymore. Probably that's the reason why milk is in surplus. I don't drink it. But I am saying, but the milk is one of the very important components of agriculture, dairying. And therefore, dairy also has to be supported. And therefore, you will find a mention of that in our package. Other key component, and that is related to meat. The meat is also part of agriculture. India not only the largest probably now, we have already surpassed China probably in population and human population, but in livestock, India is also the largest, or is one of the largest. We have large livestock population, and therefore the meat is also one of the key components. Livestock is also, management is also key component of India's agriculture strategy, which again focuses on that. Manufacturing or industry, which today is only 16% of India's economy. We must make it to at least 20%. So as a commerce industry minister, I had prepared a plan for $5 trillion economy. Now, that pace of that will be definitely slowing down. But $5 trillion economy will have 20% of GDP coming from industry. At least 60% will come from services and remaining 20% for agriculture. For that, we had prepared agriculture export policy. So I will not go into all aspects of it, but I will just tell you something, that our growth has to happen for benefit of people. It should be people-centric growth. And people will benefit only when the growth is bottoms up. So I had prepared a program called if all districts of India start growing at more than 3% per annum than normal growth. If they're growing at 6%, how they'll grow at 9%. So if they grow at 3% more, the incomes that will accrue from additional growth rate will go into the hands of the people, pockets of the people, and they'll be able to prosper better. And the growth will happen first in the grassroots, and then it will be going up. So we have to work on a new model. And in the context of this, when the global challenges are going to be too many, we have to focus on domestic market growth. And that's where the Aatmanirbhar Bharat, as the Prime Minister Modi has said, comes into play. We must develop models which will create linkages between one part of the country to another part of the country. If wheat is grown in Punjab and fish is available more in Kerala, how can you link these two markets? Because there are enough number of people who like to eat fish in Punjab as well. That too, a very tasty Kerala fish. At the same time, though Mr. Alphonse will like to eat more rice, there are enough number of people, Kerala will also like to use wheat. How do you link these markets? How do you make sure that artificial borders, barriers that are kept inside will go away? India must become a unified market. That was the hope after GST. But GST has created a fiscal market united. The physical connectivity that we are bringing in by roads or by railways, we had 8,56,000 crore budget for railways for the 5 years which I presented to the parliament as India's, the Narendra Modi government's first full railway budget. I had a project under Mr. Vajpayee for linking rivers of India. We have a vision to connect each other. As an aviation minister, I was implementing the vision of Prime Minister of making aviation as one of the big connectors for the country. And therefore, UDAN and other programs have been very successful. But the point is, this connectivity must benefit the people. And the people's economic activity must increase. In fact, wherever in the world connectivity has come, we have seen exponential growth in economic activity. Even in China, this happened. And that's why China's high-speed trains, China's new airports, China's all these new highways, sometimes going from nowhere to nowhere, have helped people to connect with each other. So connectivity will create this integrated market. Integrated market will help our domestic economy to grow when the global headwinds are very visible. And therefore, if the global economy is going to contract, how do you insulate our economy from the very big challenge which is going to come because of this global slowdown? And therefore, we must think of Aatmanirbhar Bharat in that context. How do you make Aatmanirbhar Bharat as a new engine of growth? Aatmanirbhar Bharat is a mission. It's a vision. But we'll have to put different type of building blocks to make that vision a reality. And I can see very clearly that the institutes of company secretaries can play that role very effectively. Because company secretary has to present the report, annual report, to the shareholders. So to get annual report, first he has to talk to CFO and get the balance sheet ready. He has to talk to all the functional heads to prepare director's report ready. And then only he can prepare the annual report. The annual report cannot be prepared without director's report or without annual financial statement. So what you do is collating the information from the different functional heads and presenting it to the shareholders for their final approval. Before, of course, directors have to approve. But once you do that, you are saying that job well done. Aatmanirbhar Bharat is like that mission. You have to make so many different functions, so many different entities to work in unison. They must be aligned to each other's interests. They must work in a manner that will ensure that is untapped potential of India, the human capital It's unleashed to an extent that they'll be able to produce more output, more efficiently, more productively. This is another aspect. The human capital has unlimited ability. When you recall, Ashish again is a very young boy, but his seniors in the profession will tell him that there was a time when in the company's act, in the annual report, what is the install capacity of your plant? Install capacity. So install capacity of a plant can be known because that's a machinal function. But what is the install capacity of a human being? Human being install capacity is mind-boggling. It's unimaginable. It has no quantified restrictions on it. It can be anything if you actually fire it. Fire the imagination. So that is what we need to do. Make our youth the new development model, development growth model. For that, startup will play a very key role. Entrepreneurship will play a key role. All this. To make entrepreneurship work properly, we have to reduce the restrictions, unproductive laws, for which I request Ashish and his team to suggest to us what is that impediment which does not allow the companies, the businesses, the enterprises to realize their true potential. I am very happy that Prime Minister has announced to the Finance Minister decriminalization of some of the very stringent corporate provisions. There are certain procedural lapses. If you fail to file annual return and if you are going to be prosecuted, it's ridiculous. So this is a very welcome thing. But I am sure there will be so many other measures which can be simplified. Corporate law is actually at the heart of economic development. Companies Act is so important because corporate entities are the ones who generate most of the revenues for the government. Corporate entities create more of the jobs for the people. Corporate entities add to so much of economic output. So your role as company secretaries and as an institute will be very important. I'm very impressed at looking at your great publication that you have made. In fact, you keep presenting it to me and I'm waiting for the next installment of books to come to me so that I can read more. Because nowadays I keep reading, doing webinars, doing meditation and doing many things. And Mr. Alphonse, you don't have to read anymore because he's already such a knowledgeable person. But we will work together and make sure that me and Mr. Alphonse, you take it as your representative. We'll make sure that we take up all those suitable causes that need to be addressed so that we can unleash this true power of entrepreneurship. That is the only way we can make it happen. As I said, individuals, humans, don't have install capacity. They can do anything. They can achieve anything. But to achieve that, we should not put restrictions, obstacles, impediments. We have to remove them. And that is what should be the role of the government, which Prime Minister Modi, if you recall, when he made that announcement to the nation, he said, laws also very important. Land laws, labor, but he talked about laws. So please tell me as to what can be done about the laws, which will take it forward. And thank you very much for inviting me. I am sure I have missed the opportunity of being a member of the company secretaries, but thank you for accepting me as an honorary member. So I think I really look forward to working with you very closely. I will be very happy to be your representative in all forums so that we can take your ideas forward. Thank you very much once again. Looking forward to working with you. And I am sure when you hear Mr. Alphonse, you will know that why I decided to speak first, because he'll speak in a much better wisdom, knowledge and experience which he brings on the table. So thank you very much. All the best to you and best regards. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was really nice to hear you. Friends, I would like to share few memories when last year I met Suresh Prabhu ji when he was the Commerce Minister, and he asked us to present some publications on various laws and different trade and commerce laws. And whenever we have met him, he always said, find out the role of the company secretary in a particular law. And always he is so close to the profession that we are really blessed to have him. And sir wants to leave. So before he will leave, I request Nagendra Rao ji to please present a vote of thanks to Shri Suresh Prabhu ji. And sir, we assure you on behalf of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, then we'll do the needful and we'll up to the mark on your expectation. We'll try our best to submit all those things to the government through your good offices.